So today we're going to have a chat. Kaz Binstead and I are going to have a chat all to do about what Kaz is going to be coming up with shortly, and an opportunity for people who are in private practice to get some more support. But also because Kaz has done quite a lot of stuff with BACP and Therapists Connect, I thought it'd be really interesting to have a chat with her and find out a little bit about what she does and what's coming up. So Kaz, what I'd love to know is, can you tell us first off a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to come and chat with you, and hello to all the Good Enough counsellors, the group. I'm Kaz. So some of you will know me probably. I kind of get out and about various places, but for anyone who doesn't, I'm a therapist. So I'm an integrative therapist and also mindfulness-based cognitive therapist. And I've been working for a number of years, in private practice coming up for 10 years. I work here in Southwest London, which is where I originally set up my private practice. That's my full-time job, if you like. And I'm also a supervisor as well. So I've been a supervisor for a few years. And I really enjoy that. And I've worked with students. Something I'm really, really passionate about is something we feel, Peter and I, who is the other co-lead at Therapists Connect, which I'll get onto in a minute, feel very strongly about supporting students and giving students a say in this profession. So I am co-lead at the large therapy networking group Therapists Connect, alongside Dr. Peter Blundell. And I'm the founder of Trainee Talk, which is the student project that we have there. So that's that. And I really love that. We've been mostly running throughout the pandemic. I know we're going to touch on that a little bit. And then I'm also I sit on the private practice divisional executive at BACP, and I've been very instrumental in being involved with the creation and the development of the private practice toolkit there. So that's it. Kind of, I do other things, but that's it.
That sounds like quite a lot. That's quite a lot. So can you tell us a bit more about we'll start with the toolkit, because that's something that I think, you said you've been sort of very instrumental in it, but I think you've actually done most of the work, haven't you, by the sense of things. Tell us a bit about that and what it is and what it's for.
Yeah, well, I think it's quite an interesting thing. Something I've really felt quite passionately about is that private practitioners haven't really had enough support from the membership bodies over the years. Having worked in some training, I could see that it wasn't really an area that was covered too much in training. Which is problematic, because actually for me, I don't know how you feel about it, Josephine, but for me, it's quite a niche area. And given you're running a business and it's a therapy practice, there's quite a lot actually to think about in there. And we know that people do want help with this stuff because they contact people like you and I, and have done in the past. How do I grow my practice? What do I need to do? And all of those types of things. So I felt very strongly that people were kind of falling through the gaps a little bit. There wasn't a clear message from membership bodies like the BACP, for example, about if it was all right to go straight into private practice from training, and if people did, like, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, but no kind of support in terms of, well, if you do it, this is kind of the best way to think about it. So this has all been in my head, and I'd run a course called New to Private Practice for quite a few years. So I joined BACP as the executive, as a volunteer, with this in mind, and I kind of said that was something that I felt strongly about. And I guess what ended up happening was that the division said, well, this has been something that we've had on the cards for years, and it's never happened. And then BACP Main were kind of, I think it had come up in their strategy review or something. So everything kind of fell into place really, which is good. And I think, I mean, I'm a person, I like doing projects. I like to kind of do something and get it done.
Yeah.
So I put, it's been, I'm not going to lie, it's not always been easy, but it's been about 3 years of working really, really hard to get some really, first of all, some really great resources that were already out there on the BACP website that just people wouldn't know about because they were all kind of scattered.
Yeah.
So to bring them together, under and set it out into like setting up your private practice, developing your private practice, managing your private practice and working in private practice. And then this year we finally got new resources done, and I wrote a number of those resources. So I've been really, really proud of the work. I've been the divisional lead on that, and then I've been working with the product manager at BACP in BACP Main. So it's been a joint project between the division and BACP Main. I just really hope it's
useful for people. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Because you're so right. There just isn't, you don't know where to look a lot of the time. And I'm a librarian by training, so I can usually find what I'm looking for on BACP website, but it isn't always easy, is it? So to have it all in one place is absolutely brilliant. And like you say, you're developing these new resources. And it did sort of take someone like you, I think, to actually get it. Everybody could see that there was a need, but it needed someone with the drive and determination to get it going. So thank you, Kaz, because we really need it.
Well, and please, if anyone watching this, if you've got feedback, if you've got thoughts or whatever, you can go on the site, you can email through, because I think what's really important, and again, something I feel strongly about, is that an organisation like the BACP is a membership organisation, and really, it needs to be there to listen to its members and listen to what the members want. So.
Yeah. So do you do anything else with it? I mean, it sounds like you've got plenty on your plate anyway, but can you tell us a bit more about the committee and what happens at the division?
Yeah, I mean, the division, I can't really remember when it was set up, but I think it was full of independent practitioners at first, and then it was kind of taken into the BACP.
Right.
There's obviously quite a few other divisions today as well. But I guess our role is to try and be the voice for private practitioners, really. So in the committee, there are people who specialise in this area. Rima Sidapara has just become our new chair, but Leslie Ludlow was the chair for quite a few years. We just hope that we can kind of communicate what private practitioners need, and also we have a journal as well called Private Practice, which members receive. You can join either as a full member, which I think is £20 a year, and then you'll get like discounts to our conference, because there's a BACP Private Practice conference. And also networking as well, or you can join for free and just get a copy of our journal online for free. So
because I've been a member for quite a long time now, which has been really useful actually, because I do enjoy the journal, because it can be, sometimes I find Therapy Today a little bit academic, whereas the private practice journal tends to be, or has been in the past, very much more focused on the sort of private practice aspects. But what I really like is there's sort of various columns and things, aren't there, where people talk about, their experience of therapy or being a private practitioner. There's a lady who lives on a boat, isn't there, who's been, there's something like this, I seem to remember. That's been quite interesting. Yeah. So I mean, it's just sort of like, interesting, and then aspects of marketing and stuff like that. But also as well, I mean, for a long time, and I haven't been recently because of the pandemic, but I was a member of our sort of Essex Division private practice networking group, which is absolutely fantastic. And we go along sort of once a quarter for a whole day and get 6 hours CPD, and it cost me £5. It's just absolutely brilliant. And obviously I'm networking with other private practitioners who have got all the same sort of issues and questions and all the rest of it. and you just get to network with them, and it's just really nice. And I, you know, because it's such a lonely business, that sort of networking opportunity pre-pandemic was fantastic, and hopefully I'll be able to get back to it soon, because, you know, it's just a really great way to meet people, isn't it? So
definitely, it's really great that you're a member of that group. And you know, there's all kinds of, there's groups across the country, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, as Josephine's just intimated, you know, they've not been running in the same way, although we have had online ones. But yeah, hopefully that well, fingers crossed, some of that may change next year. So
and I found it really helpful, because people with what we do is we'd meet and chat about issues, we'd chat about CPD, and then someone in the group would volunteer to lead a session for an hour just on some aspect of practice. And so it was really interesting, actually, to get, you know, these different viewpoints and things in. So so I could recommend it, that's all I'm saying, you know. So the other thing I wanted to know about was about Therapist Connect. Because I'm not a Twitter user, and I think for those of us that may be a bit shy about Twitter or don't really know how to use it, tell us about Therapist Connect.
Yeah, well, Josephine's going to be joining us on a social media discussion, and it always makes me laugh with social media, because it's like you have your kind of I don't know, like your domain, like you're either Facebook or Twitter or whatever. So yeah, we started on Twitter. So it actually started with a single tweet, which was in January 2020. So my colleague Peter put out a tweet basically just saying, you know, where's all the therapists, and like, let's connect, put where you practice and all that kind of thing. And he didn't really expect to get that many replies to that. And anyway, there was just hundreds and hundreds, and it was retweeted and liked and everything. And it's still going today. There's still kind of people.
Oh, really? Still?
Yeah. So it's quite amazing. So he wasn't expecting it at all. So that was the day that Therapist Connect was born. Peter and I, we kind of knew each other because we'd been because we are very interested in the profession and the evolution of the profession. We'd known each other on Twitter through debates and discussions and things. And we were very, very aware of how sometimes there was a lot of division in even in some of those discussions, actually. It would get quite kind of a bit hairy and a bit, you know, and that the profession itself sometimes felt a bit disparate, you know. And I mean, I don't know how long you've practiced, Josephine, but I've really felt a sense of that throughout my career, kind of, and of division maybe also between, and maybe this is why I feel so strongly about going in as a member to my membership body, because I would feel like the membership body was over there. And, you know, members on the ground or therapists on the ground were kind of here. So so on all levels, I think Pete and I had a shared vision for connecting people and bringing people together. And we both, because we both believe in, you know, that it's good to debate and it's good to discuss things, but to do so in a respectful way. And, you know, that we can all still be kind and respect each other as professionals, even if we disagree on things. And that's how we can get our profession to evolve. So that was one element of it, I guess, our relationship. But then also the other thing about Therapist Connect is it's in the name. It's about connecting therapists so that there is a lot less isolation. This is very pertinent to private practitioners, because you know, we all know how lonely being a private practitioner can be. And I think given that Therapist Connect was kind of born just before the pandemic started, it'd be interesting to, I don't know if we've seen what it would have been like had the pandemic not started, but I think those levels of isolation grew even more within the lockdowns. So the network and the community just grew. I came on board in around, so I came in with Therapist Connect first project, which was Trainee Talk. So it was an idea that I had, which was similar to so Peter was kind of doing that. And then I'd had this similar idea anyway about students and about having a student discussion group. And so that was the first project, and that really was really very, very popular, and word spread out, and now we, you know, training institutes know us and everything. We're supported by a lot of people, including the membership bodies as well. They will retweet us each week. So we still carry on with Trainee Talk, which is just something we personally love, that we really enjoy doing that. But so then we were both co-leads, and we've done, I don't know, we've done a variety of different things. We have a podcast, we have a YouTube channel. We did a big birthday party in January, which had a series of events, which included actually social media discussion there, which is like Mark 1. And we've done scope debates. Some people may have known the scope debates that we did, because we did 3 of those. One was a kind of the big scope debate, and we did a student scope debate. Then we did one that had the membership bodies involved as well.
And this is all on Twitter, is it? Or is that on YouTube? Or
so that was on YouTube. If anyone is still stumped by scope,
I think most of us are stumped by scope.
Lots of people say they don't even understand it. So if you are, check out our YouTube channel and watch some of these debates. The reason we had them was for 2 reasons. Number one, because it is a lot of documentation to read, actually, and a lot of people do struggle with that. So we've tried to break it down and make it accessible for people. And then number 2, to get these discussions going between people who are pro or people who are against, people who are a bit like, I think a lot of people are like, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. So so they're on YouTube if you want to view them. So I feel like I've just spoken for ages. Sorry, Josephine.
No, this is why I've asked you to come on, because it's just really interesting, and it's something that, I mean, it's, you know, especially with scope, it's just something that so many people are concerned about, shall I say, and worried about what it might mean, and not really sure where it's going to lead. And, you know, it's so lovely to sort of speak to somebody who is, I don't know if passionate is, I mean, I'm sure there is passion in there, but also just such an advocate for the profession. I guess that's what I'm picking up from you is, you know, you really want the profession to be, I don't know, to work in a sense, and you're doing, you know, you are wanting to make it as best as it can be. And I get the feeling as well that you really care about the people who are in the profession. You know, for example, with your students in your trainee talk, you know, there's that sort of caring aspect that is coming across from what you're saying. I mean, I don't know if I'm getting that right, but it's just nice to, you know, please don't apologize, because it's lovely to have someone who is such an advocate for people, and, you know, wanting to make the profession, you know, better, because, you know, that makes it better for clients, doesn't it? And ultimately that's what we're about. Absolutely. It's so important. You know, I'm very passionate about the profession, because I want people to get better, you know, I want people not to suffer, and I'm sure you're the same thing. So tell me about what's coming up with the Therapist Connect, and what the next project is coming up in November.
So the project that we've got coming is a 2-day event. So it's for private practitioners, although it's also for students if you're considering going into private practice. And it's called Private Practice 2021, Surviving and Thriving in Uncertain Times. So I guess there's a number of reasons why I feel quite strongly. I mean, you've just heard everything that I've said about how I work in private practice and my feelings and all of that. And echoing what Josephine just said there, I really feel that private practitioners have been holding so much this past year and a half. You know, we're not going to get into the ins and outs of, you know, the lack of jobs in our profession and stuff like that. But I think as a result of things like that, a lot of people end up going into private practice that may not have done otherwise. And I guess, there's, I mean, I don't know about you, Josephine, but my practice, I mean, I'm just getting referrals just constantly. And okay, there's a you know, there's always that sense of, I mean, I do have a full private practice a lot of the time, but I think what it's showing is that, for sure, in my opinion, there was a mental health crisis before the pandemic. but now I really think this is going to be really quite something. And obviously there were figures out last week about young people and mental health as well. So it's a really, really difficult time for people. And I guess because of the lack of provision, maybe private practitioners that people come to a lot of the time if they can afford to do so. So I feel like, and I just feel like people, you know, we do our job, don't we kind of carry on, we work, and that's what we do, but at the same time we're human beings, and we have been working and living as human beings throughout a pandemic. So that brings with it some challenges also, for those of us who aren't new in practice, some adapting how we work, and for those new in private practice, perhaps experiencing differences to how it might be if people were setting up private practice in another year or whatever. So there's a lot there, and I just think, and also of course the first time, you know, when we're sitting with clients, often there'll be times when a client will say something and you might think, oh, I know about that, or I've experienced that, but the difference is they don't know, unless you're self-disclosing for a therapeutic reason or whatever. But most of the time they're not going to know. Whereas obviously this time round, both people sitting in the room are experiencing this pandemic. So that's been quite an interesting, an interesting thing as well. So all of this, and just generally, I guess, what with it being a particular sector, I thought, well, you know, it's a good time to celebrate that, to look at, we're a global community, Therapist Connect, so we're looking at worldwide private practice, and you know, the similarities and the differences, and how people practice therapy and stuff like that, and also just a space for people to come along and just, I don't know, process, be together.
It's going to include sort of the chance for people to talk to each other as well and to connect, isn't it? I mean, it's in the name, but because I know when we've talked about it, you said there's going to be, you know, you're allowing quite a lot of space for people to be able to connect with others, to be able to talk things through. And
that's right, absolutely.
It's not all just sitting in front of a screen listening to a speaker, is it?
No, that's right. We're gonna have, it's all kinds of different, I mean, it's almost like, well, it's a 2-day event, but it's like different events in one event. So we've got discussion panels, but that will allow people to come in. We want people to kind of be involved, actually, obviously as much as people want to be, but you know, hopefully we'll have people popping up on screen to say things if they want to, their own thoughts. We'll have the chat box. We've also got 2 lots of space for well, it's kind of called like networking. I don't really like that term myself, just because of some of the connotations. I know a lot of people do like the term. That's just a personal thing, but just basically just space for people to come together and talk about things. And then we'll have a couple of interviews with people. We'll have a couple of keynote speakers, loads and loads of different things. But absolutely, we want people to feel like they're very much part of the event, and that space will be given, so it doesn't just become a kind of a dry just watching.
And that's, so it's being held by Online Events are hosting it, aren't they? So it's
right,
online events, it's sort of Zoom connection presumably, and then people can get to it via Online Events.
That's right. So we're really pleased to be holding it with Online Events. Means we were having a chat about technology before this, weren't we, Josephine? And I'm not a technology person, so I like to just kind of come and talk about what I feel passionate about, and I don't have to worry about any of the technology.
That's right. So we're doing that in the background.
Online events will deal with that, but absolutely, if you're on their mailing list, you'll be able to book, and you can book, I know there's going to be some link here with this recording, so you can book via their pages and stuff like that. But,
so remind us what the dates are.
So it's the 6th and 7th of November, which is a Saturday and Sunday.
And it's sort of like starts at 10 or something like that, does it?
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
Don't worry, I can look it up. So
it starts at 9. I'm sorry, I've got
right.
stuck on the wall here.
Yeah.
This is the type of person I am, pieces of paper stuck on the wall with
I've
notes
got
for myself. So it starts at 9 on the Saturday, actually. But that's a kind of like introduction. So the first discussion will start at 9:30. And it's a full program. You know, it is two days worth, but we were looking and we were just like, there's so much that we can kind of look at here, so we might as well just do it for the full 2 days. It's pay what you can, which is brilliant. Online events obviously offer that, and we really support that so that it's accessible to anybody who wants to come along. We'd love people to come for the full 2 days and kind of be present, and so that we can kind of be a group in that space. But we do understand, obviously, there's been huge amounts of lockdowns. People might be out seeing family or doing other things. But, you know, if you want to dip in and out, if there's certain things that you want to see, you feel free to do that as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's great. And obviously, yours truly will be appearing at some point.
That's right.
On the Sunday afternoon.
We're so happy to have Josephine coming along for one of our discussions.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
No, it's all right. I just thought I'd give myself a little plug there.
It's your group, why not?
Yeah. So I'm going to be on a social media panel, but you've got like a group of panelists, so it's going to be a panel discussion. So which I think always makes it interesting because you get different views and stuff. So brilliant. Yeah, so is there anything else you still wanted people to know about before we finish?
No, I don't think so. I think it would just be really lovely to meet people. Our community is open. We're a very large community. We've just gone over 9,000 on Twitter followers, and about 4,500 on Instagram. We don't have a Facebook group or anything like that. But, we're friendly with the counsellors staff room. So if you're in that, we sometimes putting things in there. It's just really nice. You know, if anyone doesn't know me or doesn't know Therapists Connect, it's really nice to meet you, and please feel free to come along. And you know, I'm always really happy to chat to therapists, and like you said, see how we can make things better for us all, which like you said, Josephine, make things better for clients as well, actually, if we're all happier and you know, definitely feeling good in our work.
Definitely. I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? Ultimately, it's about enabling us to help the people who need therapy. So absolutely. It's brilliant to work together like that. So thank you very much, Kaz, for coming in and telling us about that. And it's lovely to meet you and have a chance to find out a bit more about you. And I'm sure people would be really interested to come to the conference, and also maybe follow Therapists Connect on Twitter.